Looks like we all owe Xbox an apology. At least I do. What's up, y'all? I'm Ray, and this is my channel, Xbox Ready, where we get together and talk about Xbox stuff. The latest news, rumors, pretty much anything I want to talk about as long as it's about Xbox in some way. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about a couple of things. Number one being the surprising twist that has turned everything we know about this ongoing saga between Xbox and Game Science completely upside down. Now, this is something that we've spoken a little bit about on the channel beforehand, but if you need a reminder, you need a refresher, Game Science is a studio behind breakout hit Black Myth: Wukong. And if you haven't noticed yet, there is no Xbox version of the game. It's on PC and PS5. And up until now, no one has really known where the hell the Xbox version went. I say went because when they revealed this game back at Summer Games Fest last year, the cinematic trailer at the very end of it had PC, PlayStation 5, and the Xbox Series X and S as supported platforms. Fast forward a little bit into the future, and they come out with the gameplay reveal. And suddenly, very mysteriously, there is no Xbox Series X or S version anymore. People are understandably confused. Then not too long after that, Game Science comes out with an FAQ, one of the subjects being, oh, why don't we have an Xbox version of this game? Well, it's because we're working through technical issues and we're still trying to sort things out, but we'll have more info soon. Microsoft Xbox, they came out and they were like, you know what, we can't comment on the exclusivity deals our partners may have with Game Science, but, you know, we'll give more information when we can. We'll come back to that later. Then at Gamescom, this journalist Extasis, who has a pretty decent record of quote-unquote insider information. He's not like Nostradamus, can't see the future Madam Web style or whatever, but he has a pretty decent track record, so when he reports on things, I'm like, oh, I tend to pay attention. Extasis came out and was like, yo guys, I was at Gamescom and I talked to someone there with knowledge about the Black Myth: Wukong Xbox version situation, and he was like, get this, the technical issue that they're referring to is apparently a memory leak issue going on that is causing the game to crash. And because it doesn't make a ton of sense why there would be no technical issues on the PS5 version and suddenly all sorts of tech issues, memory leak issues on the Series X version, that left the Xbox Series S as the likely culprit as to why this game wasn't able to pass certification for Xbox. But in a surprising twist, one that changes the whole narrative of the situation, Paul Tassi over at Forbes wrote this article where he was like, yeah, one of my sources was able to confirm that there's no Xbox version of this game, not because of a technical issue or a memory leak issue. No, there's no Xbox version of this game because it is a PlayStation 5 timed exclusive. IGN was able to confirm the same information. They don't know how long the exclusivity period is, a couple of months, a year. But the whole situation is weird because, well, this is just typically not how things are done. For the Xbox Series X and S logo to be appearing on a Black Myth: Wukong trailer to then being tied up in an exclusivity deal, for Game Science to come out and pretty much lie about it, that shit just never happens. Like, as frustrating as it is for fans, these studios and these publishers, they're pretty upfront about that stuff. When Bethesda was coming out with their first couple of games following the acquisition by Microsoft, Xbox was like, yeah, we're gonna honor the commitments that those studios made with PlayStation and other platform holders, and then once those commitments are done, they're gonna come on over to Xbox. And it turns out that Microsoft's statement, the one where they came out and they were like, we can't comment on any deals, we can't comment on any deals. If this turns out to be true, it means that they were right the whole time. They knew the whole time. I guess it's pretty cool that they didn't come out and say like, oh no, Game Science is lying. There's no technical issue. Black Myth: Wukong is tied up in an exclusivity deal. I thought Xbox was just saying that because, well, from a PR standpoint, it's probably a lot better to say, yeah, this game is tied up in some sort of exclusivity deal versus, oh, this game is struggling because of our hardware. Now, there may or may not still be technical hurdles that Game Science has to clear in order to get their game on both the Series X and S. And it's kind of crazy because, I mean, I made a video just a couple of uploads ago talking about the Series S, how it could be potentially holding us back from experiences in this game on the platform, and you know, sometimes you upload something, you swing, and you miss. So I'm sorry, but I was operating on the information that we all had and what Game Science was telling us in the first place. So it kind of blew up that part of the video for me, but everything else I said was right on the money. There are a lot of people who don't like the Series S. That dude from Rocksteady who worked on Suicide Squad said that he wished it didn't exist. Going back to this whole exclusivity deal with PlayStation, though, why were they being weird about it? Why were they being being shady about it. The only thing I can really think of off the top of my head is that, well, this is the exact thing that Microsoft said that Sony does. During the whole Activision Blizzard acquisition craziness, Sony, PlayStation, they were trying to make the argument that, oh no, well, if you give Microsoft the reins to Call of Duty and all these other Activision Blizzard titles, they're going to make the games exclusive, they're going to take it off our platform to strengthen their position in the business and monopolize things. And Microsoft countered a little bit saying, whoa, y'all want to talk about exclusives? You want to talk about keeping games off of rival platforms? Pot, meet, kettle. They even went so far as to say that PlayStation, Sony, they make these deals in order to make the Xbox platform smaller, which makes sense. Yeah, make certain games, make a ton of games not available on the Xbox platform, which makes people go and buy your console and then buy games through your storefront. You profit. It's kind of a long shot, but maybe Sony, PlayStation, they were like, I don't know. Maybe, just maybe, it would be bad press if we announced that we struck a deal to keep this game off of Xbox, especially because hype for Black Myth Wukong is crazy. On the other end, all of the things that have been discussed up until this point about why Game Science wouldn't really feel the need to put their game on the Xbox, they're still true. Game Science is an Eastern-based studio. The majority of their fans probably don't own Xbox. It is a smaller install base, so probably not high on the priority list compared to PC or PlayStation 5. But still, this knowledge about the exclusivity deal, it throws a major wrench into the whole narrative of the story. I guess Series S haters can take a break. Xbox haters can take a break. People who have been looking for someone to blame for there being no Xbox version of this game can now, I guess, point their fingers at Sony. Now we're going to walk through some of the things in the August update to make sure that you are getting the most out of your Xbox console. Now, there are a couple of things that they pushed as part of this August update, but by far the most interesting are the new features that they've added to Discord. As far as voice chatting and streaming goes, these new features definitely make the Discord app on Xbox a more complete experience. There's going to be a new Happening Now section in your Friends tab, so you can get updates whenever someone on Discord that you know is playing or just hanging out, streaming. And if they're streaming, you can go ahead and watch their stream directly on your Xbox console. Previous to this, you weren't able to do that. You were able to stream from your Xbox to Discord, but you weren't able to watch anything. It was very weird. If you are not seeing the Happening Now tab on your dashboard, you're going to have to go and relink your account. If that's the case for you, go on over to Settings, Account, Linked social accounts, go ahead and unlink your Discord account. And you'll see now that my account is relinked, I have access to this whole new tab that wasn't there before. Because none of my friends are currently chatting in Discord voice or playing a game, nothing's popping up here. But when that happens, it's gonna look a little something like this. We also have a couple of new install options. Specifically, you can choose what to install whenever you download a game. This is something that you could sort of do already, but it seems like this is a more obvious pop-up option for some of the bigger games that are coming up. And finally, for anyone who owns an Elite Series 2 or an Xbox Adaptive Controller, there are two shortcuts that are being added as a part of this update: a toggle hold button and a shortcut to turn off our Xbox. Now, one of my favorite things about games in general are the voiceover performances that bring our favorite characters to life. Something about like a good VO performance that just sticks with you throughout the years. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking like Steve Downes as Master Chief. I'm thinking Matthew Mercer as McCree/Cassidy in Overwatch. Jennifer English as Shadowheart in Baldur's Gate 3 lives rent-free in my head.
How are you holding up? Don't be so modest. I can't remember the last time I met someone like you.
And today we're gonna do something a little different. We're gonna take a look into what it actually takes to be part of some of the most iconic franchises in gaming as a voice actor. And here to help me do that is my good friend, Elena Wiss. She has been doing all sorts of video game voice acting, and I have been wanting to have her on the channel, but all of her projects up until this point mysteriously just skip over Xbox. It's a messed up tale as old as time, game skipping over Xbox. But finally, she is voicing in an Xbox game, and it's a big one, y'all. So as we all know, after the showcase back in June, Bethesda added the Creation Club into Starfield, making it to where people on console and PC can download mods made by the community and by Bethesda themselves. And one of those mods is a fully voiced companion named Robin Locke, voiced by none other than Elena Wiss. So Elena, before I continue to babble, do you want to talk about a little bit about who you are and what you do, just to give people some context here?
So what I always tell people is that I have a background in theater. As you know, that's how we know each other. I worked internationally at Hong Kong Disneyland as a singer and a performer over there for 2 years. I worked in Chicago Regional Theater, and I have done everything from, community theater to 8 shows a week equity theater, and so I've really kind of run the gamut. Simultaneously was getting into voice acting after graduating college, and I still do theater, I still do screen acting, but it's much more case by case at this point because I've just really fallen in love with the work-life balance and also the craft of voice acting, and working on games is my absolute favorite thing to do.
Can you tell us a little bit about Robin Locke and this mod?
Robin Locke is a new companion that can travel with you throughout Starfield. You'll find her after you download the mod hanging out in or around Jake's bar. She is a dishonorably discharged, disgraced UC retired pilot, kind of drinking her sorrows away. She's definitely different from most of the characters that I've played up until this point. She's definitely got a past, a storied past, and if you are, willing to go through that story with her, there certainly are a lot of things to uncover about her background, and we go really in depth. I think I recorded about 8 hours of audio. So there is a lot there. When the modder, whose mod name I don't know how to pronounce, but I'm also not sure if I can say his real name, approached me about doing this, it was one of the longest form projects I had ever been offered up front. I've done other projects where you get brought in time and time again, but you don't kind of know at the outset just how much they're going to need you. You just either get called back in or you don't. And it might amount to 8 hours over several years, but this was the first time somebody came to me and was like, listen, it's going to be somewhere between 25,000 and 30,000 words. And I was like, okay, that's an audiobook. That's a lot. He was like, and also we don't have the most time for this. So ideally we'd like to have it all done in a month. And I was like, I don't have a concept of how much time this is going to take me because I don't work on long form a lot. I found that Robin's voice was actually way more taxing than I thought it was going to be. I would find that I was just really tired after recording for an hour or even for 20 or 30 minutes.
Well, let's get off of Bethesda for a sec, because it was announced that you're going to be a part of another really big game, but I held off on talking about it because right now it is not going to be on Xbox. It is only going to be on PlayStation. Zenless Zone Zero, you're going to be a part of the Hoyoverse. That we were talking about, you're working the Skyrim mod, so different from your work on Starfield. Zenless Zone Zero, way different from either of those projects. So can you break down what it is that you're doing in Zenless Zone Zero and how it differs from the projects that we were just talking about?
Yeah, so in Zenless Zone Zero, which is Hoyoverse's latest gacha game, I'm going to be portraying a character called Ju Yuan. She is part of the public security division. She's very uptight. She's very by the book, rule follower. Everyone is wondering how I possibly got this job. Ray is laughing because he knows this is my personality. So it's completely different. It's a completely different style. It's an imported game from China. So we have the task of, sort of imitating and staying in line with what has already been established in the original language. So there are stylistic things, there are voice pitching things, there are, sounds that will be given that we need to, emulate in the sessions. There's a lot more that we need to make sure that we're honoring with the original material. Whereas with Starfield and with Skyrim, with these mods, these are completely original characters, and I'm the only person and the first person who's ever recorded them and doing all of it offline by myself. Whereas with Zenless Zone Zero, obviously the session is directed. We have professional directors that come in and, run the session, and we're being given context and specific direction about what's going on, what just happened, what we're responding to, and really shaping that and fine-tuning every line to make sure that, when we're recording not as an ensemble all in the same room together, that when the finished product comes out, it sounds like we were there with each other having a back and forth conversation. So it's completely different for sure.
And that's a review of our recent tasks. I cannot stress this enough. Once we enter the Hollow to deal with this...
It's for you.
Hello? Mom. I'm in a meeting. I can't talk. Oh, for dinner. Yeah, for dinner I'd like,
Zhu Yuan hangs up. Her mother's call leaves her
sure,
feeling
got it.
uneasy because...
That was a private call.
But let's get back to some of the fun. You said you have been a fan of gaming for a very long time, and now you are in this awesome position where you get to voice in some really awesome games. What's a character in the video game pantheon that if you ever had a chance that you would want to crack at?
Okay, I don't want to come for anybody. Here's the thing. Nobody misunderstand. I'm not saying I want to kick anybody out of their roles. Only if like something tragic and horrible happened would I ever do this. I would never ever take a job from somebody who's able to do it. I honestly have always wanted to portray Lara Croft from the Tomb Raider series, especially the newer ones. I sort of fell in love with gaming when those came out, and also when the Uncharted series came out. I was like binging all of those games back to back to back. I think Lara's like such a cool character who evolves over that series, where she starts out a little bit more apprehensive and unsure of her capabilities, and then eventually becomes this like total badass. And so like seeing women in gaming who are represented that way, I think is important to me, and I would love to step into a role like that sometime. This is like such a little kid dream of mine, but I would love to be in Kingdom Hearts or Final Fantasy, because those are, again, like some fundamental ones that I grew up playing and like still love to revisit to this day.
Is there anything that you want to leave us with? Like, where can we follow you? How can people check out your work? What's the deal?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Alaina Wiss, ALAINAWIS. I'm also on Instagram at Believe, BELLEIEVE. Yeah, you can keep up with me there for whatever's going on. Should I take it back? I don't know what's going on. We'll find out. There'll be stuff going on.
Anyways, guys, that's all the Xbox stuff I have to talk about today. Thanks so much for joining me for another edition of Xbox Ready. If you made it this far into the video, if you like Xbox, if you like my content, please consider subscribing. Help me get to 200,000 subs. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.